And we're live, ladies. Peace and power. Hotep, shalom, assalamu alaikum, whatever greeting you want to come with. I just want to meet all my brothers and sisters wherever you are in your quest for knowledge. Welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. It's tea time. Ladies, wear your glasses.
Bam.
It's tea time with the Sisterhood. And we meet every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. to discuss pertinent issues in our communities. But what differentiates us from other talk shows is that we come with solutions, viable solutions that you can take away and implement in your households and in your communities. So before we get started, we always pay homage to the ancestors, for we are our ancestors. If it wasn't for them and their sacrifice and vision, we wouldn't be here. So we always pay homage to our ancestors. So I ask right now that our ancestors grant us the knowledge and wisdom of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Grant us the warrior spirit of Yasatiwa, Queen Nzinga, Harriet Tubman, Hatshepsut. Give us the hunger for truth, justice, and balance, Mayat. So now I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Oya Mayat, and I am the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions. My company is owned by myself and my family, and we create educational materials for children that will inspire them and motivate them to learn so that we can develop productive people. So that is my mission. I would like for the sisters to now introduce themselves.
Peace and love, beautiful. This is your sister, Zafira.
That will inspire.
Okay. Again, my name is Riziki Zafira. I am CEO of Nature's Crown International, also your sacred sexpert. And I am happy to be here. Peace and love.
Peace, family. I am your sister. Look, I'm copying her. I'm your sister, Wakesho L. And I'm the other member of Nature's Crown International. And yep, that's it. I'm happy to be here. Let's get it on.
All right. So today's topic is, and I'm not looking at the topic in front of me, but I know that I'm gonna paraphrase it. It's how do we escalation and effeminization of our sons. So before we get started, Sister Wakesho, can you please read the definition? Now we're going to break this talk. I'm sorry, before you do that, we're going to break this talk into two segments. During the first segment, we're going to address the emasculation. And then in the second segment, we're going to address the feminization. So Sister Wakesho, could you please read to us the definition for emasculation?
Okay, emasculation is deprive a man of his male role or identity, make someone or something weaker or less effective. Synonyms is weaken, deliberate, undermine, cripple. Those are some of the synonyms that, is synonymous with emasculation.
Okay, so to emasculate a man is to weaken him and to cripple him. And that is what we see right now in 2016 going into 2017. Our men have been emasculated. But I want to be clear that the emasculation of Black men didn't happen overnight. It was a process. And I'm gonna talk about this process for a little bit and then open the floor up for the sisters to go in. It was a process. So I'm sure that many of us, or whoever's viewing this video, is aware that at one point in time, we did have Black civilizations that were ruled and governed by Black people. And the rulership was shared not only with men, it was between men and women. So you had female rulers and you also had male rulers, okay? Now, when the Europeans came over and they began establishing a trade with the African people, during that, okay, I think that the demand became that they needed slaves. The demand went from goods to human beings. There was definitely uprisings. Our men fought. I don't want anybody to think that when I talk about colonization and enslavement, I'm acting as if, the European man just came in and just totally took over our men. That wasn't the case. Our men definitely fought. But eventually, you know, due to disharmony and due to a plethora of things, they did overthrow our men. And I mean, I was reading this book by Ife Amaduume, and in her book, she was telling me how like the Europeans would publicly beat like rulers. So like men, which were considered titled men. So these were men that were seen in high regards. They would be taken out in front of the women and children and publicly beaten by Portuguese enslavers. They had public hangings. And I mean, of course, it's the same thing that happened on the continent happened right here on American soil. But you had public beatings. Now, these are the things our men endured: public beatings, hangings. Our men were castrated and raped in front of their women and children. I remember watching the Hidden Colors documentary, and I forgot who it was, but one of the brothers mentioned buck breaking, and they were saying that, you know, that the plantation owner would strip a man of his clothing, bend him over, and penetrate him, you know, in front of the women and the children. So you had the white man, the European man. He ravished the land that these men owned. He ravished the women. He ravished their women, their children. He raped and prostituted their women. You know, I remember reading, it's a book by Isabel Wilkerson. It's called Warmth of a Greater Sun. And in that book, she talked about how down south, you know, white men would just ride around and go into black communities and just grab black women, you know, and take them off and rape them and dump them on the side of the road. I mean, these are the sorts of stuff that they did to emasculate black men, to show black men that they had no power. I remember my grandmother, she was telling me stories, and my grandmother, she transitioned in 2005, but she was telling me a story of how when she was a little girl in Sumter County, South Carolina, she also told me that white men would come through and just snatch black women. Now, these black women were the wives and mothers, you know, of somebody, of a black man, and they would just grab them and have their way with them and then dump them off. And I remember asking my grandmother, I said, well, what did these men do? And she said, well, you know, the men would just look away and act like they didn't see it, you know. You got, you know, and then you have men watching their women and children being sold away. It was kind of like they reduced our men from rulers and protectors to like docile servants. Even at the emancipation, our men said, okay, let's build our own communities. Let's build our own businesses. And what did they do? If you Google the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots, they went through there, shot our men up, you know, forced women and children into convention centers, you know, burnt down the businesses, burnt down the homes with the assistance of the government. Okay. So what they did was they took away the black man's ability to even provide for his family during the Jim Crow eras. The occupations and income of our men were very limited. And even around the 60s and 70s, you had the deindustrialization programs that hit the urban communities hard. They pulled a lot of industries out of the urban communities, right? And so a lot of men lost their jobs. They lost a means of providing for their women and children. And I remember my grandmother telling me about a guy that she used to see. We used to call him Mr. Rob. I think he's deceased now. But at one point, Mr. Rob was one of those guys that had like an industrial job, and deindustrialization hit Baltimore City hard, and he lost his job along with thousands of other brothers. And I mean, he became a drunk. So they did a lot of things to emasculate, which you said, Sister Waukesha, emasculate, weaken, to cripple our men, from public beatings and murders and ravishing the land, the women and children, to taking away our jobs and taking away their ability to provide for their children. So we wonder why nowadays black men, they seem to be very narcissistic. And they seem to have like overinflated egos. You know, we have songs singing about men having big egos. Well, I guess they would have big egos because they've been so oppressed, so deflated, that now it's like you have to elevate yourself. I remember one sister said on Facebook, she said, we live under the system of racism and white supremacy. And she said, there's only one man in that system. She said, and he's not black. And that to me was very, very profound. very profound. So we wonder where this narcissistic come from, this narcissistic attitude. When you see a lot of brothers, they're always saying, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. Well, they have to inflate themselves because they've been deflated for so long. So long. Sisters, would you like to add anything to that? Sisters?
Yeah, no, I thought where Keisha was, but no, I mean, I totally agree. And it's kind of like a self-talk, and then understanding that if you've been in an environment that doesn't motivate and inspire you, like, you have to find some way to be able to do it yourself, which is another reason why I think a lot of Black people went straight to religion. Because in a sense, that religion gave them something outside of themselves to kind of, you know, inspire them, not realizing that it's actually in them the whole time. And so when it comes to just, you know, trying to big yourself up and having a lot of these self-motivation, self-talk, and ego, it could be healthy. But where the damage is, I feel, is there's a lot of men walking around with egos, and they really didn't do work to kind of, you know what I mean, like really deserve that title. And so then it becomes a problem when you have, and this isn't just men, it's women too, but because today is about men, like this is mainly where I'm talking about men, but it becomes a problem because now you have a lot of men who feel, because of this scarcity model or this way that the world treats them, they, you know, they gotta walk tough, but they got to talk tough, but they're not being required to walk it either. And so this becomes a part of effeminization when men just feel like, you know, you can claim these titles without putting real work. There was a lot of honor and responsibility that came with titles. And so the warrior man, the strong man, the complete man is going to understand that in order for him to be able to call himself anything, he has to do the work, because that's what a man does. Whereas the effeminate man thinks the opposite. And so here's where we have the men that feel like the world owes them everything. They're God's gift to women. You know, they're constantly in their feelings. They feel it's okay to possess. Like, all of these things are effeminate qualities due to fear of abandonment and fear of rejection. I mean, so the rabbit hole goes deep. That's just my 2 cents. Sips tea.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. And I think I watched another brother on Facebook. I think his name is Malcolm Turner. That's his name, young brother Malcolm Turner. And he was talking about being called a king. And he was like, please don't call me a king. He said, we just throwing that word around in the quote unquote conscious community. And I use that loosely, but we don't really know what that means. He said, please don't call me a king. He said, king is a title that is earned. He said, you are only a king to a queen. And so that title has to be given. And so we also have to realize that, yes, I agree with you guys 100%. It's like self-proclaimed, but you self-proclaiming something that's not particularly true. You don't really believe that you are, you know, the world's gift to women and yada, yada, yada. This is all a facade. And so we understand that, again, we had a couple shows going back when we were talking about self-love. Sisters having self-love for themselves. Well, this is where we see the lack thereof of self-love in men. They will then, you know, project this macho man divinity that they have, or that they want the world to think they have. But when you get them by themselves, and I know that we've all encountered these type of men, but they are always in their feelings. They always want you to call them and text them, and, you know, just being real woman, like a woman, you know. And so needy, and, you know, always needy. Yeah, right. So, you know, that's what we're dealing today. And I don't know how we're gonna, you know, go into it being, you know, mothers having a play, but I don't know if you want to talk about that, Dr. Maya.
No, I wanted to definitely, you know, I'm listening to everything that you sisters are saying. And, you know, it's kind of like, now that we've discussed, you know, how the European men and Asian men have, and Arabic men have emasculated our men. I was just getting ready to ask you, you sisters, do we contribute to that as women? And I think that we do, that we also contribute, or we also perpetuate the emasculation of our own men. Now, granted, I'm not saying that the sisters aren't supportive of their men. You know, you have a lot of sisters who are very, very supportive of, you know, their husbands, their fathers. Peace, sis. How are you, my sister?
Hi.
Nice to have you on here, my sister.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. I'm so late.
No, you're good, sis. You're good. So you already know what the topic is today. We're talking about the emasculation and effeminization of, you know, Black men, and particularly our sons. Like, how do we end that? And so
Right.
we started the show. I was just going back in time and talking about how, you know, that this didn't just happen overnight, that emasculating our men has been like an ongoing process.
Right.
You know, it started with the decline and the destruction of the Black civilization when they came over, when the Europeans and Arabics came over and invaded and colonized our land, sold our men, women, and children off, you know, kind of just deflated our men. Did a lot of things in front of our men, and then also they did a lot of things to our men in front of us. So then the question is, are we as women, are we perpetuating this cycle of emasculation? You know, like, how do we, because I think that I've seen sisters emasculate their men. And prior to us going live, Sister Riziki and Sister Waukesha and myself were talking about how you have sisters who will break down their man. You know, you ain't this, you ain't that, you a B, you ain't this, you don't have, I mean, like, we actually break down our own men now. You get what I'm saying? So I kind of wanted Waukesha to show that video of that sister that she was beating her boyfriend up in the tub, I believe. And I think the video, Waukesha, did the video go viral?
It's going viral. Yes, it is out of freaking control.
Yeah, I mean,
and we actually happy to share that kind of stuff. Like, I don't even want to see it, really.
I saw it today and it just automatically pissed me off. I was disgusted. I had to post something in response of it on my Facebook, where I had to proclaim that, first off, I am not one of those women that condone this bullshit. Excuse my French, but that's some bullshit. For her to sit there and emasculate her man that way. I mean, she beat the shit out of him. And then you have a group of women behind her egging it on, like, yeah, beat his ass again. Like, what? Why would you want to be with somebody that you can even disrespect in that manner? Why would you do that? So yeah, I need to show this video. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So let me share my screen and
someone said it was a transsexual. Are we able to tell?
I thought it was a transgender person too. I think it's I don't know.
If
hold up. Now, you're saying the person getting beat was a transsexual?
The person that's beating the dude up, he looked transgender.
I don't know if I want to have that qualify. Like, I literally just saw this in the comments. Like I said, so if it's a tranny, I mean, yeah, like,
we're not claiming that.
Yeah, we're not gonna play that. So if the people say it was a tranny, that we ain't okay.
I thought it was a tranny too, because I'm like, man, first off, this is a big ass woman.
Okay, well, if it's a tranny,
so it's because, you know, some women be looking a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that may not be true. I mean, I don't care who. I mean, this is. I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to still show it, Dr. Mayat, or?
I mean, what is the consensus in the chat room? Is everyone saying that it's a tranny? Because if it's a tranny, then we don't need to go in.
Right.
We can see your screen.
Okay. Well, this is without. If it's a tranny, we don't need to go in.
Yeah, that's.
I definitely want to show this video of emasculation in real time. So check it out.
And by the way, there is a really good question, but I'm trying to understand how a woman can teach a young man to be a real man. Talk to me, ladies, on that, and we will, Brother Divine. So thank you for your.
Tell Brother Divine. We tell Brother Divine we're gonna get into that, probably doing, like, you know, solutions and stuff like that. But
that's true.
Yeah, but this is, if you guys could mute your mic, because I know sometimes when the mics aren't muted, it'll go to your screen. Like if your mic is picked up or heard, it'll go to your screen. I just want to play the video so that everybody can hear it.
All right.
So this is a video that went viral on Facebook. Is everyone's mic muted? Bet. All right, here we go.
I don't need no white boys in the bus.
Why? Why? Let me know why. Why? Hey who? Hey who?
I Brody was the one I really
And who else?
all the rooms about teachers.
Why?
Because
What white people done you? Please enlighten me.
because the white people always show up in front of the black people. Like they always have nice stuff.
You got nice shit too, dude. You got buku nice shit.
The why the white people had mobile
More
a
what?
long time ago.
Oh, look, you weren't even there.
I know.
You wasn't there.
I know.
How you mad at something you wasn't there for?
Cause I know.
Cause you. Who told you that?
Hmm?
Who told you that?
I said,
Who?
no watching the movie.
Say you hate another race again, I'm gonna smack the fuck out you. Okay.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, ladies?
Yes. Can you hear me, Dr. Mott?
Yep. So did you hear that? He was the little young brother was feeling some type of way. The little young brother was feeling some type of way because he said he feels like white people had more things than black people. And then he said, well, I looked at some old movies with you, and he had some feelings. I guess he probably saw some movies on slavery, and he felt some type of way about that. And so instead of this mother using this as a teaching moment to explain to him, maybe the system of racism, white supremacy, and what took place with between our ancestors and, and their predecessors, she just kind of berated him. You say that one more time, I'm going to smack the, like, that's emasculating that little boy. Say that one more time and I'm going to smack. And I think that sometimes we as mothers with our little boys, we could be too domineering, so domineering that it kind of breaks them. And what I mean by that is I had an auntie, and I'm gonna speak from experience, and then I want to talk about my auntie. I had an auntie, and I'm not gonna put her name out there, her son name, but she came to me a few years back because she was upset at how the mother of her son's children was treating her son. Her son is a very timid guy, very like laid back, timid guy. And I remember her telling me I did that to him. She said I was always so she said I was so domineering and controlling of him. She said that she just feels like she emasculated him. And she said, so now he gravitates to women that dominate him, that talk to him any type of way, mistreat him because he was used to a dominant woman. You get what I'm saying? And I think that we as women, as mothers, sometimes we can be a little bit we could be a little bit domineering. And remember last week, towards the end of the show, I spoke about my two sons. And I was saying that one of them, that I got on him for not speaking up in a situation that I felt like he should speak up in. And he said, Ma, I never had to speak up in my life. Now he's 18. This is what he said to me. He said, I never had to speak up before in my life because you've always done it. You've always done it. You've always jumped out there. Whenever something was wrong, you always jumped out there. You get what I'm saying? So I think we as women in trying to raise our sons, we're kind of, I think, a little bit too domineering, controlling, and we don't just let them kind of be and just experience life. It's like we control, and then they get with these other women who are domineering and controlling. And I believe that kind of deflates the man. Can any of you sisters kind of speak on that? How we as mothers, like looking at that clip, how did that clip make you feel? Do you think she was right to tell her 8-year-old or 9-year-old son, don't say that again, else I'm gonna smack this? And then you see how he was just like, yeah. So can you imagine when he gets older and gets in a relationship with another woman and she talks to him like that? You get what I'm saying? So can you?
Or not even just that. I mean, and just that, but that's why I just put in the comments, that right there is the start of why men can't express themselves to women. because this is the honest feeling that he's not aware of how to process it, and he's literally asking for help or guidance for it. But instead of having the patience, and that's another thing, like, you know, parents lack of patience, instead of having the patience to understand why he's saying what he says, so that, like you said, you can channel it another way, you just shut him down, cut him off, and subconsciously tell him, you, like, don't sit up there and think or come to certain conclusions on your own, or else I'm gonna just cuss you the fuck out. The second part that I want to address is when we were at a retreat, and this was like last year, and we had a little ceremony for the men, and it was called Healing Our Birth Stories. So this is going back all the way from when you were in the womb, and due to whatever situations, like your mom couldn't breastfeed you, like that's a psychological detachment from women when mothers aren't breastfeeding their sons. I mean, both for men and women, but more so sons. And so, like, just to see, like, grown men, you know what I mean? Like, they're on their healing journey, trying to get stuff together, but, you know, they're still crying and harboring these feelings from their childhood, from their mom. Like, you know, and like I said, I biologically don't have children, but like working with these men in this work, I really don't think women understand how much of an impact they have in their son's life when it comes to communication, balance of feelings, trust in women, how they treat women, how they view them, and even how they view themselves. And so, yeah, that's just a bad start right there.
I also think there's something wrong with that as it pertains to his intellectual development. She's telling him he's not allowed to have his own thoughts, cultivate his own opinions, evaluate things. There's a whole lot going on in that video that I find questionable.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I know for me, from my own personal experience dealing with my son, you know, I had to pay attention in how I react to my son. I certainly let my son express himself. Rizzy have been around me when I'm with my son. I let him, you know, be himself. If he have questions, I let him ask. If he is frustrated, I let him play out his frustration. I think we talked about that on the other topic at the end, where I was talking about that one example where he was frustrated. And I'll share it again. But I had asked my son 3 times the same questions, and I hadn't realized that I asked him the same question over and over again. He had actually answered it, but by the 3rd time he was frustrated. You know, it's like, dag, okay, I've already answered that question. And so when I asked him the 3rd time and he got ready to answer, he was like, I already told you, Mom, and it was the way he said it that I had to correct it, but I didn't correct it in a manner where I'm like, you shut the fuck up. Why would you, no, I said, listen, Xavier, I understand that I asked you the question 3 times and you are allowed to be frustrated. Just change the tone, because, I am still your mother, but I want you to be able to express yourself. If you are frustrated, then that's a normal emotion, and you should be frustrated if you already answer Mommy. So I apologize, and thank you, whatever. And we went on about our business. And what I noticed is that every other demographic let their boys specifically play out in their testosterone. White people specifically, you see them white boys get crazy, and the white moms, oh, stop, Billy, it's okay, Billy, or whatever. And then you see this grown man, and later on, and he's a man's man. You're not going to talk to him crazy like that. He go out in this world, he's prepared. And so I certainly believe that us mother have a lot to do with why we see the men that we see today that are effeminate. And I know we're going to go to that, but we certainly have a role to play in emasculating our sons. Yeah, and that's it. I lost the train of thought.
Yeah, peace, family, peace. This is Sister Kaba Neptiank. I'm sorry I'm late, but sis, just to comment on that, yeah, we have a role, but I give this role to society. This role is deeper than our sisters, the emasculation of our people, is deeper than what we're doing today. In fact, this has happened long ago. You know, homosexuality is something that isn't new to today. They have taken a long road in emasculating our people. Right now, the clip that I just heard, the clip that you all just played, shows exactly why, you know, we really aren't the problem. That sister can't see what she just did to her son. She wouldn't be able to see that because the whole grand scope of this agenda is bigger than even she is. I mean, it's pushed down her throat. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna slap the hell out of you. Now go in your room. And he goes in his room, he turns the television on, and what? There it is in his face, the agenda on every station, every so-called quote-unquote rainbow. It's all there for him to go on and change his scope of the world, his perception of the world. His mother just told him, go sit down. If you do this again, I'm going to smack you. There are even women who are encouraging their children to accept homosexuality as being normal because they have accepted it as being something that has there's nothing wrong with homosexuality. There's nothing wrong with being this particular way. It's the extermination of the race of human life. We see that because two men can never conceive children, and neither can two women. They're gonna have to cross over. I think we spoke about this before. So it's not anything right about it, but since they've accepted, they've assimilated to a society that believes that it is okay, you know what I'm saying, for our boys to grow up and feel to believe they want to be with another boy. It's okay for them to do that. Since they've assimilated, the children are being taught the exact same thing. And so they're coming up with this idea that, oh, well, my mom have gay friends. They hang around. You know, I see him all the time. He has on heels, and it's okay for me to dress this way because my mom is accepting. And if I say something wrong or be disrespectful to this person who's dressed in drag, she's going to slap me in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to be careful about that because it's nothing wrong with it. So when the children grow to see that their mothers and family members are accepting of this particular lifestyle, they have nothing in front of them to say, oh, you know, you got to do it different. This is what a problem is. Nobody's rooted in their traditional culture, which says that the man, the woman, and the child is the only way we're going to create new life. You know what I'm saying? So emasculating us was easy. You know, it was very easy. I apologize, y'all. The phone ringing. Peace. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I didn't want to cause a breakage in the show with my phone ringing. But yeah, it's easy. It's relatively easy now to have our children accepting it, because when you go into the stores or anywhere, they're thrown down your throat. They use our rainbow to represent an agenda that they wanted to push forward. Now they put it on cartoons covers, they put it on toy covers, they put it on cereal boxes, they put it everywhere because they feel to believe that their agenda is now in place. And they've changed the bathrooms in school. You know, the only thing I have to say about this situation about schools with these restrooms are, you want to put an intersex restroom in there, so you tell this guy that he can put on a skirt. And, you know what I'm saying? And even if what if he's a guy that's just putting on a skirt so that he could go into the women's bathroom or a woman bathroom, and then he goes in there and assault a female, rape her or something of that regard, just because he's putting a skirt on and is accepting now that he can go in the men's bathroom. I think this is dangerous, family, very dangerous. And that's all I have to say. Peace.
No, Sister Kava, you went in. You said that's all you had to say, but
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's because the phone keep ringing.
You went in, and actually, you started the conversation on effeminization, because a part of the feminization process was to definitely impose and introduce a homosexual agenda. And like you said, Sister Kava, you see it in the cartoons. You get what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of parents have contacted me. Thank you, Dr. Oya, for Meltrek. They were saying, I can sit my child in front of the television and walk away knowing that they're not being indoctrinated with, you know, filth. You get what I'm saying? Knowing that there aren't any subliminal messages or subliminal gestures in the cartoons. So you see it in the cartoons. You see it in the movies, Sister Kava. Look at all our actors who put on dresses. I mean, we could talk about Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Who else? Tyler Perry.
Jamie Foxx.
Who else? The Wayans brothers. Remember on The Living Color? They used to have a segment called Men. Oh my gosh, what was it called? Men something. But I know the
Men on Film.
Men on Film. Men on Film. And I remember we thought it was all hilarious when I was younger.
That's right. We sure did.
I thought it was hilarious when they would sit there, 2 snaps in a twist, you know.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And then you look at different movies and it's always that like feminine guy. Remember the movie Low Down Dirty Shame with Keenen Ivory Wayans?
Cracked me up. Yeah.
You had Wayman. Yes, you had Wayman. It's like it's always that character. You get what
they got one of our African. You look at him, the physique and everything. They even put him in the dress. What his name? Dr. Ma'at, who played in Baby Boy. He was Holiday Heart with the, you know.
Yes.
Bing Rames.
Bing
Rames. Yeah, Raziki. Yes.
So you have our men being, you know, put in these. So this is the people don't understand how powerful media is. People don't understand that with media, when you're looking at something, and this is what I always tell people, when you interact with this world, we interact with this world using 5 senses, right? Our 5 senses. One of those senses, 2 of those senses are your eyes and what you hear. So what you see and what you hear. And what we don't understand is that when we listen to certain music and we watch certain shows, we are definitely being programmed. We are internalizing the ideas and concepts of what we are seeing and what we're listening to. And a lot of us don't understand that. They think it's just entertainment. It's deeper than entertainment. It's indoctrination. And people don't understand that. You're being indoctrinated by looking at those things like in real time. And so anyway, you know, we see it in the cartoons, the movies, even the fashion. Look at the fashion. I remember going into H&M recently. This was like during the summertime. So I'm not gonna say it was recently, but a few months back. Sister Raziki, Sister Kava, Sister Waukesha, and sisters on the panel. I went into the male section to buy my son some shorts. When I say that you could not tell men's clothing from women's clothing, I couldn't tell. I felt like I was still in the female section. The shirts were tiny, the little shorts were tight and tiny. You get what I'm saying? So even the fashion, now it's fashionable for men to sag their pants and reveal their buttocks. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I was watching this segment of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing speaking on that. And she said, when men sag their pants, she said, that is subliminal homosexuality. Why else would a guy sag his buttocks? I mean, reveal his buttocks. You're revealing your butt. So even in the fashion that's being promoted, it's all a part of the homosexual agenda. The tight clothes. You got Will Smith's son posing in dresses. What is his name? Jaden Smith. I think. Yeah,
he actually is in a series on Netflix where he kissed a boy.
Thank you, Raziki. I wanted to mention that. Thank you, Raziki. That's pitiful, y'all. It's over.
Yeah, I think they've also gotten rid of the girl-boy sections in some stores. I think Target's done that. It's now general.
So there's no differentiation, between the sexes.
Wow.
No differentiations between the sexes. So, and that's all a part of the homosexual agenda. And that homosexual agenda is being used to feminize the black male. Another powerful move that they made by feminizing black men is removing the male presence from the family. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They removed the male presence from the family. And I remember one of the sisters told me, she said, Dr. Mayat, you know, they didn't remove the male presence from the family. The men left. I said, well, sister, you don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy. If you're telling me that you think the men just got up and left, you really do not understand the system of racism and white supremacy in which you live. I told him that if the father was systematically stripped from the home, I mean, look at the government programs, the programs that they had in the 1960s. They said, look, black women, we'll give you some help, but we will not help you if you have a male in the home. All right. So you had the government programs. Then what else did they do? They normalized single parent homes. They normalized it. You know, I remember growing up, I remember growing up when I was younger, it was kind of like, you know, when you heard that a father wasn't in the house, it was kind of, you know, it was kind of abnormal at one point, you know, for a father not to be in the house. But then, you know, towards the end of the 80s, it was normal, you know, and then the child that did have both parents in the home, that was abnormal. So they normalized single parent homes, and then they promoted it in the music. You got music that tell Black women you're independent, you don't need a man. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're independent, you don't need him. You can do it by yourself. Your mother, she probably did it by herself, and so can you. You don't need. This is the type of propaganda that's going on. You get what I'm saying? They also then they tell the brothers you don't need her. Bros over hoes. Have you guys been hearing that? Bros over hoes, money over hoes. I mean, all sorts of stuff. They promote it in the media. So what they're doing is they are successfully creating a wedge between Black men and Black women. That's what they did.
Right. I remember back when I was playing the Democrat Republican game, my grandfather told me a long time ago that he has been proclaimed Republican, and I asked him why, and he told me because back when he was younger, he literally saw the Democrats going from home to home telling them that they had to remove the male from the household. So when he saw that, it was something that he didn't want to align himself with. And I never heard those stories before he told me that. So it made perfect sense as to why he disconnected himself from the Democratic Party.
And then honestly, originally Black people were Republican. This whole Democrat, but that's a whole other lesson. But I want to touch back on like I was in a single parent home. Like my mom, she was in the military. I mean, that woman, boy, I mean, like she mowed the lawn. She knew how to use a screwdriver, the saw. I mean, like there was no male presence in the house. And it was one thing that she really did instill in me was exactly what you said. Hey, you know, learn to take care of yourself. Don't depend on nobody. Even if you're in a relationship, always have a secret bank account. Don't let him know just in case. You know what I'm saying? So like, even though I know her purpose wasn't to like instill in me, I don't need one, but because like you said, it was just so normal for, you know, households to not have a male presence. You know, it was kind of like she was preparing me for that more than, you know, well, this is what you do if you have a husband. Like as a young girl growing up, I had more conversations about how to survive without a man versus, you know what I mean, what to do when you're in a relationship. And again, this isn't like my mom did the best she could with what she knew how, but you know, even though her parents, you know, stayed married, and I posted a picture of my grandparents, like till death literally did them part. But there was still a environment that she grew in, and even a lot of our family period, there's a lack of male presence. And so just a lack of male presence was something that I just grew up to know as normal. And you're right, like when I be like, oh, for real, your parents, they still together? Like that's for real? Like, you know, like that was a real shock to me. That was like a culture shock. And so, yeah, it's definitely, again, down to the fact that, you know, and it's not saying that it's all our fault, but we are highly responsible for a lot of what happened to our sons. And it first starts with the men we're choosing to have children with. So, yeah, that's all.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I think, and I wanted to come piggyback off of that or come back around the circle on that. I think we should take responsibility for the role that we are playing currently. I do understand how the system has systematically set up against us and so on and so forth. We all know this. We see this on a daily basis, but how do we fix it? Or can we at least acknowledge that we are affecting our men directly? We have to talk about the woman that's in the home with our sons, with our men. So I gotta say, even for myself, when I was younger, dealing with men, I had no issues with fighting a man. I had no issues with cursing him out and telling him he ain't nothing and you ain't shit and this and this, that to the third. So we can't be oblivious to the fact that even we ourselves was once that woman that would go off on a man and emasculate a man. So we have to acknowledge that we are a part of the problem. And I know we're going to get to the solutions, but we certainly have to say that, yeah, the women have definitely been a part of the problem in our sons' lives and in the men that we deal with as well.
Sisters, would anybody like to add, Sister Kaba, the new sister?
Yeah, I had this book. I remember Dr. Ma'at. You remember when Captain Tazariak and Irritated Genie were going on there, were getting together and they were doing their little lectures on homosexuality?
Yes.
I remember speaking with him, because he was looking for different sources and things like that. So I found a book that I had, and I mentioned some things in there too. And he was like, "Oh, sis, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shout you out," because this book was dealing called Sexual Inversion by Janice Judd. And in a particular chapter of that book, in chapter 2 of that book, the view of social sciences, the section that says the historical and methodological aspects of homosexuality. In that chapter, there was a specific area I wanted to mention here in regard to how homosexuality at one point was viewed as a crime, which we don't even have that today. And it says here in England, and I quote here on page 127 of the book, in England, as in America, and this was at the time, homosexual conduct is still a crime. In 1885, the Criminal Law Amendment Act provided that any male person guilty of committing or procuring or attempting to procure an act of gross indecency with another male in public or private now, should be guilty of a misdemeanor punishable with a maximum term of 2 years imprisonment with or without hard labor. And this comes from St. John Stevens, 1961, and gives the page number. The law has remained substantially unchanged until now, we know, of course. Attempts to prohibit female homosexuality, however, have failed. So even if they were trying to curtail what was happening with male-on-male interactions, the problem had already arisen with the female situation, and it was uncontested because they didn't care. They wanted it to continue on to where we are today. We see more women today who are emasculate. I mean, just they are taking on a role of a man. They are going to the point where they want to scrap things on them, and these women allow these women to penetrate them with some fake stuff that's not even real. This is the point where we've gotten to where the psychology of the people is destroyed. Anytime two women feel to believe that they want to have the acts of what a man and a woman does, or the energies that come together between a man and a woman and what it does in procreation, they want to mimic that, but they got to go get a fake piece of something to act as the phallus of a man, when you can just get a man, but we understand that this is what we're under in this society, because society has it flipped now. We have it so that women feel to believe that they should be with women because they're tired of men and their problems. The men are broken, the women are broken, our people are broken. You know what I'm saying? So I can't blame the black man fully. I can say that there are things that have occurred that got us to this situation right here. We were very trusting. Miscegenation wasn't anything new, but we got to know that when all of these things came together, other things came in as well. Other people's deeds and customs came in, you know what I'm saying, along the way. And we have confirmed to those ways, right now. We as a whole are to fault. But it's going to take us as a whole to come together to make it happen. We need our men to be in the household. Like Dr. Ma'at was saying, we've conditioned to be separated. We don't need the man in the house. The women don't think they need the man in the house because society has told them, I'm gonna give you everything you need. You don't need anything. You need a house to stay? I'll give you a house. You got the children? Okay. He's not helping you? Well, I want to keep him oppressed anyway. Go put his ass on child support. Yeah, we'll get you together. We'll give you a few here and there. The child grows up in a household, no male figure. They're not rooted in no tradition, no traditional culture based in what our ancestors were basing it in. They based it in the family unit. You know what I'm saying? Man, woman, and child. Not woman, and then y'all have a child. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this. A lot of women who are now in same-sex relationships have children, 3 and 4. And they're with other women. And these women are living in the household with them. And they are acting out as a couple. And these children are being directly influenced by this. And so they, in turn, come up and they accept the same things. As a matter of fact, that woman that's in the household with their mother, who's taking the role on as a so-called man, she's bringing her friends in. These children are being violated. They're being molested. They're being influenced to do exactly what she's doing. So it's a big problem. And it hasn't just started. It hadn't just started. This is something that has been going on. We need to look at the history of England. You know what I'm saying? We need to go back to that history. We need to look at a whole lot of history before we can say we're at fault for our present condition. We can't just say that now. We can look at it right now and say we see the problem and we should be able to do better. But what if they can't see the problem? This is what assimilation does. This is what conditioning does. It makes us unable to see clearly the problem that's right in front of us. So that's all. That's peace on that. I'll leave it right there.
No, sis, don't leave it right there because I want to show you something really fast. I want to share something with you. Mm-hmm. Now, this was very disturbing. If everybody could put their mics on mute for me, because I'm getting ready to show this clip. It went viral on Facebook. And I just want to know how you guys feel about this. And this is not the first clip that I ever saw on Facebook where this is going on. So I'm going to play this clip. It's about a minute. And the sad part is when I looked at the comments underneath the video, people were saying that she was the world's greatest mom. She just let her son be who he is. Kudos to her. No one said, well, where is the dad? What? No one asked, like, what is your family dynamic such that your son thinks that wearing feminine clothes is okay? No one said that. This woman got praised. People wrote praising her as this great mother because she allowed her son to wear women's clothing and prance around like a female. This is where the world has come to. I'm getting ready to play the clip for you.
Watch him walk. His pants like that. Watch him walk. I love the outfit. So how did you do that outfit, sir? Please tell the camera how you made that.
I put this on here.
Yeah,
I put that around.
Right.
And then I left that part together.
Okay. And what kind of fabric is that you're using? It looks soft. It looks like an animal. It looks beautiful. I love the 2 pieces. I love the high collar. It's very beautiful. Let me see you walk it out. He wears his fashion like that because he can. Watch him walk. His fashion like that because he can. Oh my. Fashion. His walk. He makes what he wants. He can make anything fashion. Beautiful.
All right, my sisters. Let me stop sharing my screen.
I saw that video and it sparked a discussion because I saw the original one. And in the original one, I looked at the profile because everybody, when I was reading the comments, that some other dude shared it and talked about this being a single mother woman's problem or a single woman or a single mother's problem. And I read all the comments and everybody was bashing her and doing all this stuff. So I saw the original video that was shared by the actual mother. Look at that lady's profile. She's married. She has a husband. They are Christian relationship counselors. So there is the dynamic in that household is it's a mother, a father, and their child. I don't know how how the role that he played in that, but that wasn't a single mom. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
Something wrong with his ass. I'm sorry.
Come on, Sister Riziki. Go in, sis.
Okay, so
Go in, sis.
no.
Go in, sis.
Okay, I'm extra. Okay, so when you look at that video, and again, understanding that when any child is that age, they haven't even like, or maybe even a little younger, they haven't even developed a sexuality yet. And if people understand like what dendrites are, it's like these things in your brain where certain experiences get encoded in them, which then makes you act a certain way or develop certain kind of characteristics. And what she's not realizing, both men and both the woman and the father, see, a lot of parents will sit up there and say, well, they're young, they don't really know what that is. And I'm like, yo, you couldn't be further from wrong than ever. At that time, it's so critical. Like whatever those children are going through, it like they're wide open. This is the opportunity where you're actually implanting things in the cells of their brain, their dendrites, that's going to further contribute to how they act, how they view things, even their sexuality. So when you're experimenting or playing around with a boy, and a lot of the things you're doing are feminine, those are the patterns and the experience that you're imprinting in him. So then when he gets older, don't wonder why he's effeminate or he's acting like a girl. It's because of the stuff that you thought was just fun and games. It's what you did as parents. And again, there has to be something going on with the father for him to not even interject and say anything. That's another problem. And the slide that I'm going to show y'all again relates to, again, like things I've been learning in Grand Trine, and I'll post a link, but this is a very awesome book. And I think that both men and women should get it. It's called Awakening the Masculine. And there's another book that deals with Awakening the Master Feminine. And what it deals with is like, you know, there's certain faculties in a man and woman that need to be developed in order to be considered a complete man or a complete woman. So today, since we're talking about the men, I want to take us on a journey through these houses. And this is something that I also presented at the Sacred Sexuality Retreat. And when you go through these things, men and women, you could like go through your boyfriends or your brothers, your uncles, whatever, and say, okay, this person had that house online, but he totally lacked in this one. This person had that house online, but totally lacked in that one, so forth and so on. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see. And some of the samples that I use, now one of the brothers are like a hot topic right now. And so just understand that I did this solely for the purposes of people to be able to relate to my examples. So let me pull this up. Okay. Let me know if y'all can see my slides. Yes, no? Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Yes, I see your side, sis. I have my phone on, well, not my phone, but my laptop on me, but I see it.
Okay, so this is again dealing with the houses of the master masculine, or awakening them. And again, in my work, a part of my job is like continuously to work on myself and awakening my houses so that I can further help, you know, awaken the houses of man. And this is important for both men and women to do, because some of the things women are able to contribute to, but just like raising a children takes a village, so does healing a broken man, if you will. So there are certain parts where men also play a part in this as well. So the first house I want to get into is the warrior. And we see Malcolm X. Like, I wanted to use real life examples of men who possessed a strong sense of these qualities. And the warrior, he is here to pretty much defend the people who cannot defend themselves. He is defined by his feelings and compassions for change, for righteousness. He's here to protect and serve his woman, his family by any means necessary. He is looked at as the hero. So when you look at Brother Malcolm and his warrior quality, he literally put his life on the line for the sake of his people. There are a lot of men running around here who are not good protectors of the family. I myself personally have dated men where I did not feel safe or protected, or knew if something went down, you would run like a little bitch. Okay. So the warrior quality is something that's very, very important to help the man activate within himself. And a lot of times these, like both of these houses have negative and positive qualities. So even with the negative expression of the warrior, it's dealing with that person who is not willing to take a risk for the safety of him. And we're talking about his family, like your woman. You're not standing up for your woman. You're not standing up protecting your children because you're scared of what may happen to you. That's the negative warrior qualities. Warriors have honor. They protect, they secure their family. So that's the first house. The next house is the healer, and this is Brother Nit Yama. A lot of people may not know him, but he does a lot of work with women. And it's funny because he did actually talk about why he no longer is a lot focused on the Black community, is because when he went to the Black community with these solutions, it's like they didn't want to hear it, they wasn't ready for it, so forth and so on. So the healer's job, now again, this is a faculty of the man. And this faculty is driven by pleasure and his senses. He can sense the real from fake. He's able to see like what's dysfunctional and what's broken, and he wants to fix it. So like this is the man that knows how to fill his woman's cup, because he understands her job and her role in the family. And in order for her to, function, she has to be healed. Her cup has to be full. That is his job. And as far as dealing with the children, depending on situations that the daughter and or the son goes through, he's able to come in and kind of heal the situation or fix the situation without compromising, the fact that he has to teach his children to know how to stand for themselves and process their emotions and their thoughts in a healthy manner. So again, this is the healer energy. And the negative qualities, like I call them the Hotep brothers, right? They come at you with their unks and their herbal tea and their kale salads, but they're more so wanting to get in the panty drawers, and they literally have no real interest in seeing you develop and heal, but also knowing as a quote unquote conscious individual, we've all been through some kind of trauma. So that is the, what is that, number 3? No, what was that, number 2? Okay, yeah. So the third one, now I know before people go off, you see Brother Polite here. And I put him under the hunter because why? This person is driven by money and status. This is the provider. This part of the man is, understanding that social standing is important, and it's not more so like a popularity contest, but one thing that our men used to honor was their reputation. When people said their name, what else did they say with it? And that's another thing that we see is lacking in the effeminized man, is that, they're driven by the things that do not portray a good reputation on him, which is also a reflection of his family. The hunter also sees life as a contest or race. So he understands the science, the art of war. He also understands competition. And the healthy side of the warrior, of course, he's more so about, look, I just want to go do what I got to do to provide for my family, to whereas the unhealthy one, he simply bases his worth off of all of his material. And again, we see that today, like you was talking about earlier, Dr. Mayat, when you have the brother who is like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, look at me. Yeah, I may have all this great money and status, but how did I get there? And this is kind of what Brother Polite is going through when we heard with his wives and stuff. So yeah, bro, you have all this money and status, but was the integrity there for you to get it? So again, I'm gonna leave that one alone because I don't know the situation or a brother like that. But just so you guys are understanding these qualities. So again, we got the provider, the warrior, or excuse me, we got the protector, we have the healer, we have the provider, okay, the hunter. He goes out and gets stuff. Now the eagle. This is the last part, and I have Neil deGrasse Tyson because this dude is like an astrophysicist, super intellectual, and this is something else that men are lacking. To whereas this faculty allows a man to see the big picture and also plans the steps for it. So this is the part where we come to, okay, are you willing to lead? A lot of men are like, well, yeah, I'm the leader, I should lead in the relationship. Okay, but can you see the vision? And if you see the vision, can you lay down the plan? Because if not, why am I following you? The negative side of this is, you know, my way or the highway. You know, you always have to go with me and what I say, no matter what you say, because I'm the smartest. I have all this information. Your opinion doesn't matter. So again, all of these faculties have positive and negative. And what we see going on is especially when our boys are being effeminized, they're expressing the negative qualities of these houses, so they're not protecting. Okay, they don't care about your feelings. They're not worried about your cup being full, so you can do what you got to do. They feel like you need to take care of them. They're not motivated they're complacent with being in the same damn space for years and years. They're not go-getters. And then they want everything in the world, but they don't know how to get it. They want other people to do stuff for them. This is, you know, also a sense of not being self-sufficient. And so the last thing I want to get into is how we accomplish how these, you know, activating these. And this is why I was talking about both men and women are responsible for helping these come online, because number one, we no longer have a lot of rites of passage programs. Now, there's not a lot of things that women can do to bring on the warrior and the hunter. That's something that men do amongst men. This is something that men who are actually protecting and providing their families, they show other men. This is why rites of passages and ceremonies were going on. So, and another thing, more male time. So just like females, we'll sit down, we'll have our tea talk. We sit on the phone for hours, kiki, girl, ka, da, da, da. Men, you know, like, are y'all having y'all little bro circles where y'all can come together and, you know, whatever y'all do, manly stuff, I don't know. The other part is healing the energy bodies, which is more so dealing like with the healer part and the ego part. Now, this is the ability to heal and like see the vision and stuff like that, and healing your birth story. Like I said before, a lot of our men are still angry with their mothers. They're still, you know, angry with their fathers, and they think that it's better to suppress those feelings instead of expressing it, instead of healing from it. And of course, you know, admitting you need help. One thing that, and I understand why a lot of our Black men didn't like going to the doctors back in the day, which also turned into Black men not admitting they need help. That is a serious problem. It is okay for you to want to heal. And this is why more of women, I feel, that's why y'all know my motto, Black people need Tantra, while more of us need to learn this kind of stuff, because it's the ability to not only heal within yourself, but build a better relationship with the opposite sex. And then the last and very not least is women activating their own houses and archetypes. This is another way to help, you know what I mean, the man. Now, that's a whole other show. I won't get into it, but understand that there's a complement to the warrior that a woman has, a complement to the healer, a complement to the hunter, and a complement to the eagle. So, again, that is, you know, just some solutions as to how we could, you know, go forward with activating each other, because it's very, very necessary. And that's my little spiel. Any questions?
Sis, you went all the way. I loved it. I loved it.
Thank you.
Early, I put together a few slides, and you were like, you know, I'm going to come with some information, but I didn't know you were going to come like that.
I'm just saying.
Sister Riziki, you went on in, sis. You went on.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. Did any of the other sisters want to add to what she was saying? I know the new sister, I think she wanted to say something. Is that true, sis? Or Did you want to add to what Sister Raziki shared? Sis, can she hear me?
Which one? Which one?
It says mermaid.
Oh, that's me. Hi, I'm Jamila.
Yeah. Did you want to add? Did you want to add to the information that Sister Raziki just disseminated?
No, I just want to say that I love that. I love that. I recognize that there is definitely an issue. I think that everybody has to accept responsibility for the roles that they play and what's going on in our communities right the hell now, because there's a lot of deflecting, and it's all your fault, all your fault, all your fault, and nobody wants to be responsible for their shit. Even in I call it single woman households, because I am a single woman, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a single mother. My daughter's father is not present, but that does not mean that I make sure that my daughter has adequate love, support, and attention from male figures. She's surrounded by men that love and adore her, surrounded by them. And like I said, I'm a single person. So I don't claim the single mother term at all. I think it's ridiculous. And I think that it is intentional at this point to be a single mother, considering the community that we can cultivate with our uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, whomever, to create that abundance instead of coming from a place of lack or not having.
Mm-hmm. I want to address something too, because again, I'm looking at the comments and I want to address the people who are saying, if a male boy is too feminine, do you beat him into masculinity? Do you think that children are born gay, so forth and so on? So I just want to address this due to like my work. And I know some people, go ahead, who's about to say something?
Before you do, Sister Raziki, I want to say something real quick. Okay. What you were saying, and we call it the himit pur. The woman rules the house. You were talking about the roles of the woman and the man being that warrior to go out and do things on the outside, and the woman is the ruler of the house. She rules the house. That is her role. That's where it should be. She's also a protector. But what happened, what I believe happened, is this whole equality thing. You know, we're equal inside of the house and we're equal in the street. Equality destroyed our structure as a family unit, because it made the male feel to believe he should be inside of the house, sweeping, taking care of things, and taking credit for everything that's happening inside of the house, as opposed to being that warrior out doing the things they need to do to bring home the things needed for the family. Instead, the roles have reversed. Right. The woman is now leading in society in executive positions, and the male is at home. He's supporting the children, washing the dishes. Equality did that to us, sis. So him at per, meaning the woman rules the house. And that means anything that happens or comes in there, she's allowing specific things if it's happening within the house, because she should be there. Her role is to rule the house. And so it goes back to what you were saying, that last part of what you were saying. So it kind of resonated with me, and I just wanted to mention that. But go ahead, sis.
Yeah, no, and like I said, another show, because like I said, women have houses too. And so we can get into that in another show, but just to address these questions. So a couple of things, because we were talking about the chemical warfare, and another reason why I started growing my own food is that, in soy, in, these chemtrails, in just certain foods, period. I forgot the scientist's name, but he's a brother, where he found that a lot of the foods that, we're giving our babies, they're also producing more estrogen in them. So this is another reason another way how we are being, our children are being attacked, and even with, vaccines and things of that nature. And so when we talk about, okay, I had a couple clients, and like I said, in the practice of, again, sidereal astrology. I know a lot of people feel like it's pseudo, but just the amount of accuracy I've had, like every single time, I can't just throw it away. But there were times that I was able to tell, based on the energy that this person came into this earth with, he had a little bit more feminine traits than masculine. And so I don't personally feel like anybody is born gay. What I do feel like is if you have a child or especially a male child that is exhibiting a lot of feminine traits. Like one client I had, mind you, both parents was in the household. He was never molested, raped, or abused. And what happened was exactly what you guys said. Because his father saw this feminine behavior, he tried to beat it out of him. And it didn't work because the brother is still a homosexual today. But what I found was, again, going back to these dendrites, these experiences and these patterns that are imprinted in us are for whatever reason. And it's like, okay, when we recognize that a male child is acting more feminine, what activities or patterns can we imprint in him that's going to activate that masculine side? And again, and not to get all like, hocus or, whatever, but this is another reason why I feel like knowing the science with energy bodies is important, because before that male child came here, he was an energy or a spirit first. And so when he gets here and you understand the like certain qualities and traits, this is why we learned those ancient sciences. We learned how to manipulate energy, rather it was just through us projecting, or the food that we eat, or the chants or the mantras that we say. We were able to kind of like, reverse a couple of things. And so I mean, like this whole conscious thing is so higher than what the conscious community thinks it is. Like, we can't just sit here and talk about the problem and, oh yeah, we know how to identify it, but do you know how to manipulate energy to change some stuff? Like, let's talk about that. So to answer your question, no, I don't think anybody's born gay, but because they're up to a certain age, like children aren't even thinking about sex, and a child may be producing an energy that's the opposite, more of the opposite of what they are. You have to deal with that on more than one level than just physical. So that's it.
How do you beat somebody out of being gay? That just sounds like abuse.
Right. I mean, well, again, because most men, right, would think that, oh, this is a way of toughening him up. When it's not, it's really just damaging him and the relationship that y'all have. And, men, who teaches men how to deal with the son who's portraying more feminine behavior? Like, there's no school for that. Are there books available? And that's another thing, like in our community, we act like this stuff don't happen. We like sweep it under the rug and we don't talk about it. We don't talk about the molestation in our families, which is another reason why a lot of our boys are effeminate and they just don't admit it. I mean, there's just like, I am shocked at the amount of men who I read for, or I even dealt with like energetically, who's had some kind of story about, being touched, or, and because, they can't express themselves or seek healings out of fear of them being called gay. Like how can a boy process that? What group of men can say, hey, come to me, I can help counsel you through this molestation that you went through?
Right.
Well, I just had a question. So is emasculation synonymous with being homosexual?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I only asked that question.
Some people are saying some of the emasculation leads to homosexuality. So
it's just about to ask that. Do we necessarily think that that's true, that by emasculating them lead to homosexuality?
No, I wouldn't say
Necessarily does.
Yeah, I don't think not necessarily so. Even effeminization, I wouldn't say that it always leads to homosexuality, because I've met guys, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, who had feminine characteristics, and these were heterosexual men. It was just they were raised around a lot of women, so they may have had a lot of feminine, like feminine traits, the way they talk with their hands or their movements, or the way they would, the way they would speak, little things like that would be feminine in my opinion. But it wasn't because they were homosexual, it was because simply they were just raised around a lot of females. So I wouldn't say just because you are effeminate or emasculated, that necessarily means that you're homosexual. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I also do feel that being effeminized can contribute to a person's decision to be homosexual. I will say that.
Now let me tell you why I agree with that, Sister Rizzi. because you know how you come across like feminine guys and people will say, he's gay. You're gay.
Yep.
The person might start thinking, well, am I? You know,
Exactly.
am I gay? You know, am
So
I?
would that be
Must be.
right? So would that necessarily be the person, or would that be society kind of creating that? Because we talked about
it's both, because honestly,
right.
like our society sucks when it comes to recognizing an issue and then wanting to heal it. Like we don't have a problem recognizing the issue, but you know, there's also lack of consideration, and like because we don't know how to heal it, we fear what we don't understand. We just want to attack. But
so
like,
let me piggyback off of that, because we were having discussion the other day. Remember, we was talking about the transgender community, and I know this is kind of going off, but it's going to kind of tie together. But remember, I told you I was watching the documentary, and one of the guys that stuck out to me, and I totally understood it. I understood it, and it made sense to me.
what happened?
What documentary?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think I know where she was going with, but I'll let her come back. But to make a long story short, yeah, both society and the individual is important. And this is another thing I want to get back to, because when we're dealing with energy and feminization, there's such a fine line, and it can be dangerous because, you know, depending on what cultural tradition, whether it's Sumer, the Dogon, or ancient Native America, whatever, a lot of them deal with the first beings being androgynous. They really had no sex. There was no such thing as homosexuality when life first started, whether if it was an amoeba, a nucleus, whatever the case may be. And so again, yes, like you have the metrosexuals, or you do have the men who you know, are really feminine, but you know, they do like women. But like you said, even as a boy, when you start portraying those things, and then you're constantly like, oh man, you gay, I think he's gay. Like, yeah, you can convince somebody who's weak-minded and don't have knowledge of self that they are something that they're really not. And we call that, again, one of the masks or part of a counterfeit personality that people develop based on the experiences and the environment that they were brought in. When you came here, like, you had this authentic you, but that authentic you changes because you've experienced things where you felt rejected, you were fearful, you weren't appreciated, and so now you're putting up these guards, you probably acting out, doing extra stuff, whatever the case, and then it's making you into this man who's supposed to understand how to process emotions, keep his mental sanity, but you don't, because again, our society isn't breeding certain institutions where, you know, we're able to develop those things. So
yeah, but we forget. I think we got all the way around those who created these conditions. You know, these crackers that created this homosexual condition. I just want to share this. And it's from that same book, Dr. Ma'at. It states here, it was widespread among the citizens of Greece, practiced by many of the outstanding men of the time. It took the special form of pedastry, that is, love of boys, and the literature of the time is rich in eulogies of this love as the highest form of wisdom. Socrates declared his philosophy to be one of love, and his love was homosexual love. In the dialogues of Plato, love is always pedastry or homosexual love. Homosexuality was legally recognized. Solon, himself a homosexual and the man who introduced the so-called democratic constitution, issued important laws for the regulation of pedastry, and providing, among other things, that a slave must not have connection with a free boy. Many explanations have been put forward for the intense devotion of pedastry among the Greeks. The fact that it aided from in war by promoting intensely loyal comradeship and outstanding military exploit is one such explanation. Another is that in the religion of the Greeks, pedastry was fostered by initiation rites at puberty. At puberty. Yet another is the marked devotion to body that made up so much of the educational training of the Greek youth, who wrestled and ran races in the nude. Few attributed it to the fact that youths were brought up by male slaves. This is what he said. It has been suggested too that the leisure in which the governing class lived, supported by crowds of slaves, rendered it peculiarly liable to preoccupation and passion and pleasure seeking. Certainly, sensibility played an important role in Greek upper class life. Ponticus, a pupil of Plato and himself a famous philosopher, wrote a book on pleasure in 1887, many passages of which have been preserved. In it, he argues that luxury is the conduct of life and that voluptuousness is a right reserved for the governing classes, whereas work and toil fall to the lot of the slaves and the poor. All who prize luxury are broad-minded men of fine character and therefore more to be esteemed than others. So I mean, it's just saying here that homosexuality was so prevalent in Greek history, but they also said that Homer knew nothing of it. Although he did sing of close friendships of the Iliad and Odyssey, the evidence is strong that homosexuality in the form of pedastry came later and flourished in the historic period from the 6th century BC on, coinciding with the development of a monetary, commercial, and slave form of society. So I just wanted to add that, sis. All right.
I'm gonna have to. I don't know, Sister Kaba. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with you on that. I understand that
it's not me; it's the author. So,
I understand. Or I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with the author. Then, and it's quite simple. I think that there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, it's just that simple.
That's what they say.
I'm not new. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, I was saying that's what they're saying. It's not new. This isn't new. This isn't a new thing. This is old.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna also say that I don't think that that is necessarily true that it wasn't a presence of homosexuality in African history as well. I mean,
I don't disagree with that. We knew the invaders came in and brought it with them.
Right. And I don't know how the conversation got onto homosexuality as opposed to emasculating men, because I think we're kind of going more towards homosexuality. And that's why I asked the question as to, is homosexuality synonymous with emasculation of our men? And I think we kind of started off with talking about, are we a part of the problem? Are we creating this problem? And how can we get to the solution? I'm just trying to figure out, or try to follow how we got into the homosexuality, because me personally, I don't think that necessarily at this moment have anything to do with the emasculation of men.
Well, I would say that it does, because most of the people that I have had experiences with who were emasculated are now homosexuals, flaming. So that from my point of view,
emasculated, you mean like abused, or like
these people, or these people were reared up with peers that whom in fact were themselves gay, homosexual at that time, and so the influences of these people.
Well, are we looking at the definition of emasculate? Because again, I'm trying to figure out how we are making that synonymous with homosexuality. Me personally, again, I don't see how those two are put together on a wide scale.
I think what she's saying is that in her experience, because everybody's experience is there. In her experience, the homosexuals that she been acquainted with, they became that was their choice, or it's what happened due to them being emasculated.
In fact, that's a fact for me, and nobody can. Nobody qualifies to tell the story that I know other than myself. This is what I saw this.
There's just different experiences for everybody. I know for me personally, the emasculated men, I ran into, none of them were really gay. They just had female emotions, or they didn't know how to control their emotions, or you know, really possessive, really clingy because of the whole, you know, self-esteem issues, lack of confidence. Like those are the things that
and that's all I was saying. Those are the things that we're more concerned about. I mean, because we can, the list can go on what may have caused homosexuality, and we can get into all of that. But we want to kind of,
it's not a long list, sis. It's not a long list. It's not a long list. Our people did not practice. I mean, we go all the way back. We don't see that. I mean, because if we did have it, we wouldn't have people.
I will also agree to disagree, only because
I don't agree with
the
that.
African people were the first beings on planet Earth, period, and there's nothing new under the sun. Now, I will agree with the popularization and the direct advertising of homosexuality came from.
That's where I'm at.
But I personally cannot sit here and honestly believe, like, out of the 1 million or billion original beings on this planet, before white people came on this earth, that there was absolutely
no one. We don't say that. We're not saying it's none. We're not saying it's none, but there was a point of inclusion. You know what I'm saying? There was a point when this
there was a point where there was an agenda to say, hey, y'all all, let's just all be married and have sex with each other. I get that. But so for me, I can't solely blame homosexuality on white people, because
I didn't say that. I didn't blame it.
I think that's what happened is that Europeans made it a lifestyle.
Like
I don't, they popularized
white crackers did that.
They popularized it and they made it a culture. And I don't think that it was necessarily a culture in Africa.
But it happened.
But I do believe it happened. I would never say that it did not happen.
I never said it didn't happen. It happened.
But that's cool. That's cool. But let's get to some of these solutions so we can wrap it up. I think that Sister Riziki gave some beautiful solutions, and I just want to add to that. I think that we as women had to stop coddling our sons. Let them experience life. Stop jumping in front. And I know that I'm speaking from experience, right? That it's not healthy to keep. How when our sons fall, we run and get them. Oh my goodness, And the father, if the father was present, he would say, "Oh man, boy, get up," But as mothers, we want to run over to him. We want to coddle him and pick him up and, oh, you scraped your leg, and pat him up, instead of just letting him fall and dust himself off and get up and continue. I think we as mothers need to stop coddling our sons and let them go out here and go get some bumps and bruises and scrapes. You get what I'm saying? I think we need to stop doing that. I think a lot of us, we do coddle our sons. We have under us a lot, and I know I'm guilty of it. So I'm speaking from experience. And I see what it produced. You get what I'm saying? I see that me always speaking up and jumping out there, even when the bullies in the neighborhood. I'm coming outside. I was that mom growing up. You put a hand on my child. I was coming outside. Where are your parents? I was that. I'm coming out there to defeat the bully, instead of the son pushing him out the door and saying, "Look, boy, you better not come back in this house until I'm going to lock the door on you, and I'm going to make you face that bully." I mean, you get what I'm saying? I think there's
my granddaddy did.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? And I had a male friend who told me that that's what his mother did to him. And that's when he learned to fight for himself. He said that he didn't run out there when someone in the neighborhood bullied him. He said instead his mother would lock the door and say, "I got tired of him coming in and out of the house crying about this guy bullying him." So one day she locked the door, and he was forced to go out there and deal with the guy that was bullying him. And he ended up actually beating the guy up and realizing, wait a minute, I can fight. You get what I'm saying?
I can't stand on my own. I don't need a woman to come in and save me all the time.
Exactly. So I think we as women have to start, stop calling our sons, allow them to go out here and get their bruises, get scrapes, bumps, or whatever. Just allow them to go out here and experience life. I love that example that Sister Waukesha gave at the beginning of the talk. She was saying how we had to let them act out their frustrations. You'll let them know, look, I'm mommy, so you're not going to be here. You're not going to disrespect me. But let them act it out. And I'm going to say to a certain degree. You get what I'm saying? Because Sister Waukesha, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I was just saying, yes, it's a healthy way. And even when we say to that certain degree, we just have to be mindful. Just be mindful how we are talking to our sons, and just make sure that we are doing it in a manner where he is getting the same respect that you are. And I have another example that my son, it just happened to him not too long ago. And it was with his stepmother. And he felt like he was being either threatened or disrespected. And because I've allowed him to express himself and defend himself, he defended himself in a manner where he wasn't disrespectful, but she certainly knew that he meant business and that she was in the wrong, and she kind of stooped to his level. But he was like, listen, I felt threatened and I had to defend myself. And they kind of got into a little ruffle over the PlayStation. And he felt threatened, and he said it in a respectful manner, like, listen, you got to show me respect just like I got to show you respect.
Go ahead, nephew.
And he was right. So and I know plenty black mothers, if they son said that to them, they would have smacked them, or some craziness like that. So we have to also be mindful of how we are handling our sons. We have to let them again play out their aggression and really know what testosterone means. You know what I mean?
So with the little boy, just as case in point, the video where the mother had him prancing around, go, it's getting, which is emasculation in my opinion. So if he continues on in doing that, if he continues on and he grows up and he's developed in that, walk, yeah, twist it, what's gonna happen when he grows? I just want to know, where does he go? Where is his precept on life if he's continued to be able to go down that path? That's all I'm saying. That it definitely influences. I think that emasculating our boys definitely influences their precept on who and what they are as they grow older. And I think that y'all should do a show next time, kind of breaking down the two, since Sister Riziki and Sister Wesho have they draw a distinction, and I think that's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? To draw that distinction. You draw that distinction, and then you kind of go into it and break it down and show how it doesn't, or either how it does, or the meet in the middle. Because I feel to believe that little boy walking around prancing with his hands on his hips, mom saying go, he's growing up feeling to believe that he can go, and by the time he's 8 or 9, she's still telling him go. I mean, so you think at 15 he's going to not want to go? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's all.
No. I agree in the sense of, like I was saying before, at a certain age, both boys and girls, they're dendrites. Like, if y'all just look up the definition of brain dendrites. Go. You know what I'm saying? So yes, go. Look that up. And again, that age is crucial. Like, imprinting those behaviors in that young boy.
That's right.
So yeah, man, it's. I mean, but it may not all the time lead to homosexual.
Right.
But
the precept is there, baby.
I think we also have to be better at cultivating our children. Just because I'm a single woman doesn't mean I'm a single mother. My daughter is surrounded by men, so we can do the same thing for our sons. There's no reason.
I agree with that.
At all, whether there's a father or a mother in the house or not.
I agree, and let me back you up on that. Like when Waukesha and I, when we went to Kenya, and I gotta also thank Dr. Mayat for reminding me, because at first I was like, yo, I'm a chill back because I don't have any children, and then I'm like, she's like, she had to remind me, like, no, yes, you got millions of sons out here, and I'm like, yo, you right, because even when we went to Kenya, the children just meeting us within 5 minutes, we were automatically auntie. You know what I mean? And it was like, here in America, it's one thing if you say, hey, Miss Rizzy, okay, hey. But when you say, hey, auntie, for me, in my subconscious mind, in my being, like, that activated like a responsibility for this child, because while you're in my watch or whatever, like you're my child, you're my family, and so it definitely does go back to the village concept, which is why, again, I was going back to those solutions dealing with, you know, the rites of passages, the male circles, the female circles, because this is why we had those male and female times, because men understood you had to cultivate certain parts within yourself, and so did the women. And like I said, each of those 4 houses, women, we have 4 houses we have to activate to complement each of those houses that the men are, you know, that the men have to activate. And so yeah, like okay, so even dealing with children, because they say it's easier to raise good children than repair broken men. But understand that a lot of these men who we're leaving behind, they're still fathers. They will become fathers. They want to be fathers. So I also feel like there needs to be more community, and brothers stop being so judgmental if a man expresses he needs help. He's not weak when that's actually one of the strongest things a man can do, to hit me up and say, Riziki, I need help. Riziki, I need an energy session. Riziki, I feel unconfident because I can't perform sexually. Riziki, I feel this way because I was molested when I was younger. That's powerful. And so as a community, go ahead.
No, I didn't want to cut you, but that is for a man to be. I hear echo.
I can't hear that person at all.
Riziki, it was Sister Riziki. It was you. But look, I just wanted to piggyback off what you said. That is very strong of a man, and humble, you know, to say, look, man, I need help. You know, I remember when that whole African Bombada situation happened, and people were coming out talking about, you know, how they were molested and touched, you know, when they were children. Some of the men came out and confessed their stuff. And I was just thinking that took a lot of heart. You get what I'm saying? Because I can't imagine what that does to a man's manhood. You get what I'm saying? For someone to actually take it from them. You get what I'm saying? Someone to penetrate them and really just take their manhood. I can only imagine psychological impact on a man. No, go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying it's devastating. Like and as like when I do these energy sessions, I find myself like I gotta remove, because like you will have this 6'2" brolic, you know, got the man beard, you know. But when we're working through this trauma, he's crying like a baby. Like there's been times when I had to stop the session and just hold him like he's my child, like comfort him like I'm about to breastfeed him. It like sucked to see, and I'm trying not to get emotional because like this is going on. This is going on so much, and that's why I made that post the other day, because people don't understand like what this work entails. It's seeing, you know, okay, so I being like raised in a single family home, you know, I did not have that male figure, right? So like throughout life, I'm this chick trying to find this male figure. And so when these men come to me and I'm looking at them on the outside, they're strong, and then you realize on the inside they are broken, that is like horrible. And they wake up every day constantly questioning themselves. And sometimes the reason why they can't sustain relationships is not because they don't want to, it's because they don't know how, and they don't even know how to process their own feelings. And so even if it's not molestation, even if it's the man that comes and says, well, I remember when my mom would tell me I'm not shit, or, you know, my mom, yeah, she bought me stuff, but there was never no emotional tie. My dad just up and left. You know, she would always talk bad about my father. Like women, we do so many things like we don't think is detrimental to a man and his identity as a man. Like when you sit there and talk about how much you hate that boy's father, you're telling him you hate a part of him. His father helped you make him. So even when you say, hey, you remind me of your daddy, that's another thing. Like you are hurting him. You're making him disassociate from even wanting to be a man sometimes. And it's really heart-wrenching. And you will be surprised as to how much like the snot bubbles, the tears, I just want to scream and like throwing tantrums because of all this hurt that they suppressed from being emasculated, and there's nowhere that they feel safe to like heal. It's a crying shame. That's my spill. I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
Let me move on.
No, I know that you've seen a lot, Sister Riziki, given what you do. But I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said as far as getting our sons involved in rites of passage programs. I know that there's a rites of passage program here in Virginia. I went to the Nat Turner tour, which was hosted by Reality Speak. Shout out to Brother Jabari Nator. But he hosted a tour to view Nat Turner's, the plantations that he worked on and things of that nature. We went up there, and the gentleman that gave the tour also has a rites of passage program right there in Virginia. So I'm going to look into it more because I want to get my sons involved in that. But as women, we need to get our children involved in rites of passage programs. For men, we also need to give them male mentors. If there's not a male presence in your family,
and they need to step up. Men need to step up for real.
Absolutely. Men do need to step up and be fathers and be leaders again. But it was just for me, for this show, it was kind of like, what can we do? You get what I'm saying? As sisters, as women, as mothers, what can we do? And we got to get our children. Huh?
I think also changing how our children, how
I can't hear.
You breaking up, sis.
Put your phone on, sister. All right, Sister Mermaid.
Okay, so we also need to heal ourselves, because what we're saying about the way that we talk to our kids is detrimental. I have a lot of friends who have, or a lot of people that I know that are also, single women with children. And the common denominator that I find, and people get angry at me because of, why aren't you talking about how much of a POS your daughter's? Listen, let me get your life together, because you're not going to refer to him like that. That's not what we're doing. You may not be here, but that is not anything that I have any maliciousness towards. Okay, I'd rather him be over there working on himself than here trying to disrupt my peace. I'd rather that. And my child is safe and happy and surrounded by love. And I've never talked about her dad in a derogatory way, not indirectly or directly, in her presence or not. We need to change that.
That's right, sister. That's right.
That anger, frustration, bitterness, the letdowns, whatever it is that we're harboring and holding on to energetically, spiritually, physically, or otherwise, is detrimental to the little people. It's detrimental.
Facts.
Tell me you're thinking that this person is evil or a deadbeat or a savage or whatever the hell in your head. Whatever you're thinking in your head is manifest one way or another. And your children are. So we need to fix the whole dynamic and the way that we navigate the world as it pertains to what we've experienced for the children.
That's right, sister. Peace. Black power on that one.
Yeah, definitely. So, as Sister Riziki, do you think we covered the solutions? Enough.
I just want to go over the women part real quick. I'm not going to get in depth like I did the men, but I know like there was no sense of me telling y'all we need to compliment the houses of the man if you don't know the house of the woman in this show. So a couple of solutions for women and how we can activate more of our feminine selves so that we're of a better, or I'll say we're of a more effective contribution to our men. So the first house is the moon energy. So the nurturing side, the motherly side. This is the energy, where again, not too much coddling, but that energy complements the warrior. When he's done fighting in battle, protecting, he needs to be nurtured. Okay, so this is one thing. The next part again is the elegant rose. This is the complement to the healer. Again, the healer is there to fill the woman's cup, and when her cup is filled, she feels beautiful, she feels elegant, she feels feminine, she feels ladylike. She's not having to worry about a whole bunch of duties that she has to do, which what makes her kick into, like, I don't want to say like she's a man, but a part of a masculine faculty is physical labor, work, so forth and so on. So the elegant rose is the woman who beautifies herself. She knows she's beautiful no matter her shape or size. And you know, men want to look at a pleasantly looking woman. So nurturing, beautifying yourself, taking time for your self-care so that you can fill his cup too. The third energy is the seated hawk. Now, just like how the eagle gets the vision, and because he gets the vision, he lays down the plan. The eagle gets that vision from somewhere. The woman. We need, like, let's be the visionary for our men. A lot of us, we have dated those men who have potential, right? But you know, we know how that goes. So the fact is when you see a man who's actively working to progress, work on your visionary skills. Where can you see him taking the family, so that when you give him the vision, he's now has a duty to like lay the steps down to accomplish that vision. So this is how we produce together, or manifest things. And so the other part is the hunter, right? That was the man, the one who provides. And for the women part is the treasure chest. How resourceful are you? That's one of the things that I pride myself on. Like, I've never needed a man to take care of me solely. Not to say I don't want no help, because ain't nothing wrong with that. But the treasure chest is a resourceful woman. If her man is going through a hardship, do you know how to do what you got to do to make some stuff happen? I mean, without, you know, compromising who you are, your integrity and stuff. But are you resourceful? Are you able to gather? Are you able to assess the needs of the household and him and make it happen? So again, a major part, well, one of the parts is activating ourselves so that we can be a better complement to an activated man. But again, there's certain parts of a man that we can't activate because we're women, and that's why the brotherhood is important. The healthy brotherhood, not the kind who just intellectually masturbate like all the time. Sometimes it's healthy, I guess. Y'all gotta act that out, but not to a point where y'all just talking for no reason. And that's my spill, honey. That's what I got.
No doubt. And I just want to thank all of the thanks, sis. I just want to thank all of the people who joined the talk today. I saw a few sisters come in. I saw Sister Naya. She came in. Another sister, Sister Gloria, she came through. I see Doug 757 in the chat room. I saw a brother named D Duck 415 in the chat room. Brother Sean P, he's always there. I see Brother Buck. I also see, let me see if there is anybody else. Abazu Amin, I know he was there for a while. You had Tip Bigger, King Ra, Mac Tip, Celeb Jones. So I want to thank, you know, all of the brothers and Sister Sunflower. Sister Sunflower, she dropped through for a little bit. So I just want to thank everybody who joined the discussion today. I appreciate all of your feedback. If you know any sisters, share the show with them. I want this panel to be filled with sisters talking about these issues and being introduced to solutions that we can go out here, solutions that we can implement in our families and in our communities. So I know that we have a lot of brothers who are watching us and they're like, good job, ladies, and they're applauding. Please share this link with your girlfriends, your wives, your moms, your nieces, your female cousins, your aunties, even grandma. You know, I want this panel to be filled each time the sisterhood convenes to discuss an issue. I would like to thank my sisterhood. I love these sisters on the panel. Sister Raziki, Sister Kaba, Sister Waukesha. I love you, my sisters. And I'm so happy that a new sister joined us today. Yes. I appreciate her.
Yes, thanks.
Yes, I appreciate your presence, my sister, and you are welcome to join us every Wednesday. And I want more sisters to join us, more sisters, to have the courage to sit on the panel and give us their input and provide us with their input on these particular discussions. I have nothing left. I think that today was a great discussion. I think that we can go on and on and on with discussing emasculation and effeminization of the Black men, and then what we could do as women and what needs to be done. But I think that we did provide some viable solutions to go out, get your children involved, give them a male mentor, get them in the rites of passage program, get them in a brotherly circle, them asking the men to step up. Because we are in a state right now. I'm like, if the I'm just thinking like if the war kicked off, Sister Kaba, right now.
Yeah.
Here's the warrior class. Where's the Asafo?
That's right. That's right.
Talk about it.
Yeah, where's
That's right.
the Asafo? I'm thinking, I was hearing rumors, and I don't want to put this out there because I haven't did my due diligence on this particular topic, but someone on Facebook claimed that Barack Obama just signed some bill or some law maybe 2 days ago. And
he did. It was not a couple months ago, like maybe a month ago. Oh, it was a month ago that he did that. I'm sorry. I am a very avid vaccine choice advocate. So yeah.
Okay, but I heard that you had some bill and someone was telling me that that's a part of martial law and all that other stuff. But what I tell my sons is that day is coming where you're going to have to pick up a rifle and you're going to have to shoot somebody, and I'm not like, I don't try to scare them, but I just try to let them know what's coming. I may not be around to see it, or I may be around to see it, but that's why I have them going to the gun range. That's why my 18-year-old, he's getting ready to get a registered shotgun. And
that's
when
right.
I take them to the gym. I mean, to the gym. I've been taking them. Actually, I have been taking them to the gym since they were 10 and 11, and I've been also taking them to the gun range, when they were very young. But we have to prepare our young men. But what they're doing is totally neutralizing the warrior class. So when that day coming, since the men are emasculated and effeminized, who's going to fight?
That's right.
And those warrior men are sitting there in jail. See, now if the brotherhood would have came together and took those Bloods and Crips and all them gang members and taught them how to really fight and train them, we would have our army. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're recognizing our warrior class and hunter class and locking them up.
Well, the war is on them. The war is on our warriors because they are the ones that protect the community, really, but they're killing each other. But they are the protection. The community respects them. And so with a change in their psyche would be a change in the community. You know what I'm saying? If they were to change and turn the guns from one another, and start to protect, the community, it would be different. So I think we have some warriors out here who are trying to reconstruct the minds of these warriors because they are in jail and they are being shot down and killed. So they're not in a position to protect us. And so the oppressors have the, they can come in. They have the right of passage to come right on in because they've eliminated our warriors. You know what I'm saying? So that's a fact there.
Yeah, we've got to a lot of fronts. People got to start growing their own food. We got to start building our communities and working together as a cohesive unit, because it's not as important these days as me by myself getting woke, so to speak. We have to do that together and work together because in that, not just the sisterhood, the brotherhood too. We have to work together for that security and that safety and just for a number of things.
Well, I said the sisterhood because I see a lot of problems, within sisterhoods. They have a hard time really coming together on things because of personal experiences they have in their lives with their relationships, having to raise their children alone. It's a whole lot. So the sisters are not receptive to one another even, So when we got to raise the nation up, we got to start with our women. Yep.
I say that all the time, Sister Kaba. I say that all the time. That's why what is this? That's why, I don't, brothers will accuse me. I laugh at it when they accuse me of they say, Dr. Mayat, you're a feminist. You're a feminist because the way you advocate for women. And I say, well, first of all, there's a difference between, you know, Eurocentric feminism and African feminism, but I discussed that at a later show. But the purpose of me trying to elevate women is because I understand that that's key to elevating the nation. I understand women. I understand that we are the foundation. We are the structure. You know, we are the structure. We are the foundation of the nation. So if you have a solid, you know, foundation, then we can build. But if the foundation isn't solid, then we fall. And so that is why my mission is to elevate the sisterhood, you know, and I understand, you know, I know there's a saying that if you educate a man, you teach an individual, but if you educate a woman, you teach a nation, because it is the woman who gives birth to the nation. So women, we're the ones that are going to perpetuate and teach you know, our seeds, our babies, you know, like you said, the men, they might go out there. Men, I remember that there's a Ghanaian saying that, oh man, I don't even want to mess up. I don't even want to mess it up. I have to say before another show, but basically, I know that basically the saying was talking about how women are very sedentary. We're very stationary, and how men kind of wander. You get what I'm saying? And so we're here, you know, I don't care if there's a mother and father both in the household. I guarantee you that it is the woman who spends more time, or should be spending more time, with the babies, you know. And so then that woman is the first teacher. She's the transmitter of culture. So we got to make sure that the mentality of our sisters is correct. We got to make sure that they're not passing a destructive mentality down to our babies. So that's why Dr. Mayat, that's why she focuses on women, because I understand that that's key to elevating the nation. But with that said, it was a beautiful conversation, ladies. We've been going for 2 hours straight, and we could keep going, because this is one of these topics where you could keep going and talk about the whys and what we need to do. But bottom line is, we need to get back to forming our strong sister circles and our strong brotherly circles. We have to start mothering other children and mothering other mothers, and the fathers have to be fathers not only to their children, but fathers to, like you say, these other young brothers and sisters that you see in your everyday community. And like I was telling Raziki at the beginning of the show, being a mother and a father isn't exclusive to biological children. We all have a responsibility to reach out to these children in our community. I can't stand when people see things going on. They say, that's not my child. And they keep on going. That's not my child. That's not my child. And you don't want to invest any time and energy into that child that's running around wild in the community. That child might be the murderer or robber of your child. You didn't want to take the time you didn't want to put in time and energy into that baby. So anyway, we got to start mothering and fathering babies that aren't biologically ours. You know what I mean? We got to start. We got to strengthen our sister circle, our brotherly circle. We have to get involved in the rites of passages on the female side and the male side. You know, we have to. So basically what Dr. Mayat is saying is that we have to learn how to be African again. We had to get back to our culture and our traditions. Because that's what we used to do. We were a collective. We had a communal mindset. You know, we had the philosophy that it takes a village to raise a child. So me telling us these things, the passage and sister circles and brotherly circles, all of that is African. So in essence, I'm asking that we have to learn how to become African again. And Dr. Amos Wilson and Kwame Nkrumah or Soto, they talked about that, the re-Africanization process. So that means and reconstructing and reinstituting our culture, traditions, and values.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to do. But I'm not going to get on, because you know I can start going off for Ziki and I start talking for about 10, 15 minutes. So I'm not going to do it. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. What is a great topic for next show? What can they expect for the next show? What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, maybe we should let the audience decide. Let's see. So today we talked about the emasculation of the menses. Maybe next month, what if we talk about? Is there a word for women being emasculated? Like, is that even a word? Like manly? I don't know. Maybe how we could step more into our feminine.
Yes. I'm for that.
Let me see.
Yeah,
No one
because
has
a lot of times when we see the women, call them, what did you say, emasculated?
I mean, I don't know, because you know men get emasculated. So do women get manlinized? I don't know. See, I don't know what word you would say that. But what lead? You know what? That would be good. Like, what leads to a woman? You know, I don't know. Like how we used to talk about. We used to fight our boyfriends. Like, why? You know, like some of us out here acting ratchet, raunchy, like really manly, like, you know, thinking we could tell men what to do. Are we really like developed in our divine feminine? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So y'all pick that. I don't know.
Because I was about to say, what about that woman who is influenced and then walks around, you know, looking like acting like a brother, wants to take on a woman? What happened to her as she was coming up? What caused her to, you know, to change? A lot of influences, I'm sure. And then when she does make this change, doesn't she become homosexual? Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. You know, so. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Or I mean, she doesn't always become homosexual, or she's just mad masculine. She
right.
Just wants
One or the other.
Call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
What you would think?
Well, that's what they wind up being. Yeah. Well, shit, that's what they wind up being, Riziki.
Bumping the rug.
No, that's not necessarily true. That is not necessarily true.
Sometimes they do. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Sister Carver. Lord.
Carver be on it, yo.
I got a cousin right now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I got a cousin right now. She has 2 children. You understand what I'm saying? And she has a female counterpart in the role of a male. I mean, let her speak and tell you what happened, how she came up. You know how different things happen, and she started dressing like a guy. And yes, right now she's in a relationship with another woman. Now I know it doesn't happen all the time, but goddamn it, where is it leading to?
Well, listen,
save it for next week, sis.
Because I was quiet the whole time. I've been quiet the whole time.
Go in, goddamn it, go in.
No, all I'm saying is I used to be that woman. Like I used to be. Wait, Rizzy.
Okay.
Don't do that because you won't too far behind. So sit down.
We're not about me.
Hey, listen, we gonna get on that.
Y'all crazy.
You is on this goddamn.
You gotta prove, because you gotta prove to me that the shit don't lead there. You gotta prove it to me.
Well,
I'm a prime example.
All right. Well, you know what? There's always
homosexuals.
Okay, so check this out. There's always an exception to the rule, right? You would have an exception.
We'll get into it. Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's get more into the 4 houses of the women. Now we see how it come together.
Right, so hold up, y'all. Hold up. Let's summarize it. So next week topic for everybody. I know we started cutting up, so the brothers in the chat room probably said those sisters are off the chain. So next week we're going to be discussing how women have become masculinized, and you're going to go into Riziki, the houses of the women and what may have activated this. That's what we're going to.
Oh. Exactly, and how we can heal those qualities. And
that's great.
To end what you were talking about, Dr. Mayat, I want to seriously have everybody take deep into consideration about what you were talking about as far as the African culture, because a lot of these solutions that I was talking about that women can't help the men, this was due to certain rituals. Certain rituals that only men can perform amongst men. Not nothing gay, but you know what I mean, to ignite those certain qualities that are just really masculine. And that's one of the things that religion took away from us, was what we would consider ritual or things we did to possess a quote unquote deity, which is really a personification of an aspect of God, if you will. And yeah, so we'll definitely get into that. Come on, Wakeisha.
let me say this, please. I also think we should talk about, do we think it's important to, because since we were so hell-bound on homosexuality, do we think in the quote unquote conscious community, because I don't anyway, do we think that if someone is homosexual, should they not be allowed or be a part of the movement? No, I want to talk about that too.
That's a whole other topic. You can't
We can do that.
You can't
Hold on, we'll do that in the subsequent show. So not the
Okay.
next subsequent show. I think
So-
that would be
Okay.
a good. I think that would be a talk. Y'all are in rare form. You know what I mean? Wait till I stop this broadcast. But, hey, y'all, thank you for watching. Peace and Black Power. Sis, if y'all want to hang out for a little bit, I'm here. But as far as the other brothers in the chat room, we got to go. Peace.
Peace and love, family.
Hey.
Peace.